Howdy everybody, welcome to Trackickoffroad, and in today's video we are going to be talking about 8 things that I think that you need before you go start rock crawling. Now, I don't mean just going down your average everyday trail like this. Or doing a light rock section like this. I'm talking about actually doing challenging rock obstacles like this. So number one on my list is probably one of my favorite things to say is lockers before light bars. I feel like in the off-road community now, people choose aesthetics over function, and for me that is really annoying. But I'm telling you, skip the LED light bar and get yourself some lockers. At least one locker would be really helpful out there on the rocks. And if you don't know what a locker does, what a locker is going to do is gauge both tires to spin at the same time. So if you have a front locker, both front tires are going to spin. If you have a rear locker, both rear tires are going to spin. Now for the rear, there are some exceptions like limited slip, posi track, stuff like that. But I would say at minimum, you want at least a front locker to help get yourself up and over. Because if you're open front and rear, you really only have a two-wheel drive. You got one tire spinning in the front, one tire spinning in the rear. It's not a true four-wheel drive. For my rock crawler here, it is locked front and rear, and it makes obstacles super easy. So number one, lockers. Number two on my list is going to be lower gearing. Although it's not necessarily a necessary thing to have, but having transfer case gears or lower gears in your axles is really going to help you have the torque to get up and over rocks, especially if you're running larger tires, because we'll get into that later, but you are going to want a larger tire for rock crawling. So if you can get away with getting transfer case gears, great. If you can get away with doing axle gears, even better. If you can do both, you're in a good position. My Geo Tracker here, I have lower gears in the axles and lower gears in the transfer case, so it makes crawling through the rocks a breeze. Now obviously there's some exceptions, like, you know, a Jeep Rubicon is going to have 410s, and yeah, it's going to actually have lockers too, and it's going to have like a 4-to-1 transfer case ratio. So if you have something that already has those modifications from the factory, you're good to go. But if you have a stock Sport Wrangler or a stock Geo Tracker or whatever you have, you're gonna want to upgrade those things if you plan on getting serious on the rocks. So number 3 on the list, which we led right into, is larger tires. Again, you're not gonna want a stock tire size to go run in the bigger rocks. You're gonna want a better tire, preferably a sticky tire, but not everybody is gonna be able to get a sticky tire because they're not DOT legal. But if you get a larger mud terrain tire, even all-terrain tire, they're gonna do really good on the rocks. I mean, these are just bias plies swampers. They do pretty good. But I've had BFGs, I've had everything down to a 33-inch tire, and they do pretty good. But you can't get into too technical stuff. I would say anything under 37 to 35. So the 4th item I'm going to recommend that you have before you go out into serious rocks is pick yourself up a winch. Make sure that you match the capability of the winch to the weight of your vehicle. So this probably weighs 3,600 pounds. I'm not 100% sure, but I have a 9,500 pound winch, and that is a perfect combination for this. Let's say you have a heavier rig. Wranglers are pretty heavy. Probably gonna want a 12K winch. The reason why it's number 4 on my list is because when you're out in the technical rocks and you get stuck, you're gonna want a winch to pull you out and get you through the obstacle or get you over the obstacle. Because you're not necessarily gonna want to hook up a tow strap to one of your buddies and have him yank you over the rock super hard, potentially breaking your stuff, his stuff, or he gets stuck too, and then you're both stranded. So I think a winch out on the rocks really helps you get out of sketchy situations. Even, you know, if you roll over or you are gonna roll over, it can help you in that situation. The fifth thing on my list is going to be rock sliders. And what rock sliders do is exactly what it sounds like. They actually serve two purposes, and we're going to talk about those. So the first purpose is obviously when that rock slider gets on some rocks, and your breakover angle is obviously not that great. It's going to slide. It's going to slide over the rock versus hanging you up. So a rock slider, I don't have anything to show you. Let's say this is the rock. This is the rock slider. It's just going to slide right on over and help you get down it. The second thing that a rock slider is going to do for you is protect the rocker panels on your vehicle. Assuming you care about your rig, you're definitely going to want to invest in some rock sliders first thing. So for me, this is what my rock slider is made out of, and it's just a piece of square tubing, and it works great. I've never had any issues with it. These are super cheap to make. I think this is like a 2x4 piece of square tubing, and it's just welded on, and that is a simple rock slider. Obviously there are many other things you can use as rock sliders. You can purchase pre-built ones, but I mean, if you're a DIYer but you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want an easy project, you can build some rock sliders like that, because again, it's going to protect your rocker panel and help you slide over the rocks. But if you don't want to build your own rock slider and you do need them, you are going to need them. They're on this list for a reason. You can purchase pre-built sliders like these. These are tube sliders from Trail Gear, and they're cheap, pre-welded. But this is more of a, I'm not going to say a DIY kit, but you do have to weld the tubes to the rock slider itself and find a way to mount it to your chassis. Now you can, if you look in the right places, let's say for a Toyota, a Tacoma, a Jeep, or whatever, you will find plenty of bolt-on rock sliders, because there's a huge need out there for them. Any person that does any heavy off-roading is going to have a pair of rock sliders on their rig, and that's why it's on my list. I really believe that you need rock sliders before you get out there and start destroying your rig. Number 6 on my list is going to be differential armor. It's not necessary, but I truly believe that you need differential armor. If you bash into a rock going forwards in your front diff and dent that diff cover in, or if it's like a Toyota housing and bash that housing in, you're in for a bad time. I mean, your gear could lock up. It's just going to be a lot of carnage you don't want. Same with if you reverse really hard or fall back into a rock and it hits your rear diff, you're going to bash it up and you're just not going to have a good time. So I would invest into some kind of diff armor, if it's aftermarket diff cover, or just a little, the little pieces that bolt on the bottom, or it's a weld-on, diff cover for like a Toyota. Well, number 7 on my list is kind of, I'm not going to say it's similar to the diff armor, but it's going to be kind of in that same category, is that those low-hanging parts are going to get into the rocks and get messed up. So you're going to want to upgrade your steering. I haven't upgraded the steering on this Geo Tracker here, and I've been tie rods and everything else that you can imagine. But with an upgraded steering, you're going to run less of a risk of destroying your steering. Especially if it's something that you got to drive home. You want something that's going to protect your steering and be reliable. Obviously, there are a million companies out there that sell upgraded steering kits, high steer kits, you name it, they got it, and I would invest in that right away. I'm going to be doing that to this because I like to play in the rocks, and when those rocks hit the steering, it's pretty much game over until you get it straightened out and fixed. Obviously, there's many trail fixes out there. You can hook your winch up and pull it straight, or however you got to do it. But if you upgrade first, your chances are a little better at getting out scotch-free. So the 8th and final thing on my list, and I think is the most important, is to have a good friend with you, preferably experienced and has a built rig and has everything that I just mentioned on his rig. Now, a good friend is going to help you in a lot of ways. One, if If you're new to rock crawling, you're going to want a spotter, somebody to tell you where your tires are, where they need to be, what you're hitting, what not to do, what to do, because you can get into some really stinky situations if you just go out there and send it and have no idea what you're doing, and you know, end up off a cliff or somewhere that you don't want to be. But having an experienced buddy with you with a built rig, he's also going to be able to help you get out of bad situations. Obviously, it's going to be a good recovery vehicle for you in case you break or you do need rescued out of there. And really, what's a wheeling trip without some good friends with you? I would highly suggest to never go alone. You want somebody to be able to help you when you get into these bad situations, and also somebody to be able to guide you and motivate you in the right ways, because there is bad peer pressure that'll get you into some situations you don't want to be in also. But again, it's last on my list, but really it should be first on my list. Bring a friend that is experienced with a capable vehicle. So really, these are just my opinions. There's millions of opinions out there, and I'd love to hear your list or your opinions of what you need before you get into, let's say, heavier rock crawling, more technical things. So go ahead, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think I missed. And you know, people can go down, read the comments, and check those things off their list as well. And we can help people that are new to the rock crawling and off-road community. Now, I would like to take one moment to kind of raise an awareness to staying on the trail, no matter what. If you can't get through the gatekeeper, don't go around it. Don't make yourself a bypass or whatever. Make sure you stay on the trail. If you can't make it, your vehicle is not capable to do the rest of that trail. When you're going off the trail to go around it and things like that, that's how we get, you know, our woods and our trails shut down. And it's not fair to the people that actually go out there, that build capable rigs to enjoy themselves and have a good time outdoors. So make sure that if your vehicle isn't capable enough, that you don't try to make a different trail so that you can do it. It's not okay, it's disrespectful, and you know, I don't want to see it, nobody else wants to see it. People are gonna let you know that you're messing up and that you shouldn't be doing that. And I mean, if you shouldn't even be on the trail in that case. So again, I just really want to bring up, stay on the trail, don't go off of it. Let's keep our, you know, our public lands open. I mean, it's a great thing that we have. Yeah, let's not lose it. I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching this episode. I'm going to have a little series on my off-road tips and things I suggest. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing Clyde 2.0 here and building the Grand Wagoneer that we call Rocky. I do my absolute best to post a video every Thursday and every Sunday of every week. I plan on taking many more off-road adventures this summer and sharing it to you guys. So again, please don't hesitate to subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video.